Yo, what is going on, homies? It's your boy Stumped back for the OPTC video, and in today's video we're taking a look at the new worldwide anniversary exclusive Blackbeard Legend in some regular content, having a bit of a chat of the unit and actually doing a bit of a showcase on what this unit can do. Now, I do understand that a lot of people are a little bit deflated with the choice of something like Blackbeard, Burgess, the Blackbeard Pirates for the worldwide anniversary, and look, it is to be expected with these big celebrations. Everybody wants Luffy's, everybody wants hype characters, but with the game moving alongside the anime, it was kind of expected to be bringing something like a Blackbeard or bringing something like these particular pirates, because, again, that's where we're kind of at with the anime as well. Or we're a little bit behind the anime from what we should say, but nevertheless, I do understand people probably are saying Blackbeard's mid and all these fun things about the character, but honestly, the character is very, very good, and it's to be expected the character is good because, at the end of the day, it is a worldwide anniversary exclusive unit, and these exclusive characters stereotypically do hold up in particular areas of the game and are very, very good across the board, whether it be just in regular play, whether it be in stuff like PvP, whether it be in like treasure maps. Wherever they actually may shine, there's usually a spot for them. Now, the big draw for this particular Blackbeard is very reminiscent of V1 Blackbeard. He allows your normal attacks to ignore enemy defensive effects, but then cancels all of your own defensive effects. Now, not being able to apply defensive effects to yourself can be a little bit of a burden, but it's really not the end of the world. And the reason it's not the end of the world is because he has the ability to... Oh, I keep missing my perfects, man. We're going to do this because I need to, like hit the spaghetti guy. Jeez Louise. It's really not that big of a deal because if you apply a threshold to yourself, he's going to change that into an increased damage taking conditional boost for 2.25 no matter how many turns the effect is. So you don't want to bring any defensive capabilities with the character, no damage reductions, no damage reduction sockets, no characters that are going to do anything like that. But if you bring Threshold, you are going to be in for a good time because you can actually turn that into a buff, which is, again, very reminiscent of Blackbeard. This Blackbeard is kind of just sort of taken all of the really, really good qualities from all of the other Blackbeards, meshed them into one, and just made a very powerful unit. Now, this going through defensive effects is shown amazingly in Garb Challenge 15. Basically, every single one of these stages has a barrier, so I thought this would be a great place to showcase that. And remember, this is an unconditional effect. You don't need any condition like the fighter, slasher, striker, and shooter to actually get this like V1 Blackbeard. The only downside the unit has is he can't go through defense up. However, with his super class, he actually removes, I think it's 5 turns of defense up, applies damage reduction, so then you can do all of these really, really nice things with his special. So Blackbeard's captain ability is really strong. A 5 times captain to driven and powerhouse units is very, very good as well. And he can be hybrided up with a bunch of other very, very powerful characters. Now, Versakainu is the character that we're using today, and the reason we're actually using Versakainu is because he boosts driven characters as well, but he also boosts powerhouse. For Blackbeard, you do want to have a fighter, slasher, striker, and shooter, so we're bringing 3 of his batch, and then we're bringing the anniversary Luffy. I wasn't lucky enough to pull, what's his name? Burgess, so I did need to find a fighter replacement for the team, and Luffy was kind of the best thing that I could come up with, so, look, Luffy's really, really good. Luffy's very, very good, and plus he's a powerhouse character, so he sort of just fit the bill the best. But if, like I said, if you have a fighter, slasher, striker, or shooter on the team, you actually get a 5.75 times boost rather than the 5 times multiplier. Now, the 5 times multiplier in today's day and age can be a little bit lackluster. It can be a little bit low, but having the 5.75 sort of brings him back up into that echelons of very powerful characters. And he did come with 4 rare recruits that do cover 3 of the classes, and then a partner legend being Burgess that can cover the other fighter tag. But when you are running dual captains, it does make the team build a little bit challenging because you really want to try and bring one of each of those types whilst also sticking to the powerhouse and the driven complex, you know? So you want to bring driven slashers or powerhouse slashers, powerhouse fighters, driven shooters, those types of units. But all in all, I do really like the fact that they've given us a lot more Blackbeard pirates. I really like that now we can do stuff with not only this character, but we can do stuff with units like Super Tandem Blackbeard and other characters alike as well. So just making our way through Garbage Challenge 15, I really wanted to highlight the captain ability of the unit. Just bypassing defensive effects is an incredibly powerful ability, and one that definitely shouldn't be understated. A lot of people have realized how powerful it is when we see stuff like Gear 5, 6-star. That particular unit was just blew everyone away, and having that ability to just bypass defensive effects just means that you can just do some really, really crazy things. So, clapping it off here on Garbage Challenge 15, just bypassing literally every barrier that you need to worry about, and then having a burn effect if you can't kill certain stages. Alright, so moving on to a harder Garbage Challenge now, we're going to take on Navy. Another really cool part of Blackbeard's captain ability is he actually gives you matching orbs. Dex, Quick, and Tandem orbs are matching for Driven and Powerhouse characters. So if you are running his entire batch, being the Strength batch, you are going to have unfavorable orbs as matching, and then if you use stuff like Van Ogre, you're going to get Psy orbs as well. So I believe Doc Q makes in orbs matching as well. So with that, you pretty much have every orb that you need matching, and the team works really, really well. We're going to partner him up with Jesus Burgess now, the legend that he came alongside. The two of them work exceptionally well together. One's an attack booster, the other's an orb booster. They give each other orbs that they need, and they give each other stuff like the increased damage taken, as well as the ability, like a chain boost, and the ability to get the buffed version of the special. But Blackbeard's superclass is something that also makes him very, very unique as well. Blackbeard's superclass has the ability to apply defense damage reduction. Oh man, I can't talk. Damage reduction for 6 turns. Now, normally this would be a hindrance for the team, but remember, Blackbeard actually goes through defensive effects, so this doesn't matter at all. He also removes the 6 turns of defense up like we showed in the previous fight, as well as then boosting the superclass of driven characters for 1.5 times for 1 turn rather than 1.2. Now, this is basically just a super type for 1 turn for superclass units. So it's a very, very, very strong ability, like an exceptionally strong ability, and one that should not be underrated for the 1 turn where you have all of this damage output. So we are going to use, what can we use here? I think we just attack. We're going to get the super tandem because we managed to pull a tandem orb, and then we can just attack here. Downside to doing these showcases on the go is I always forget that I'm actually showcasing, and then I sort of like muck up the run and stuff like that, but look, we move. This 80% damage reduction literally that you apply to the enemy literally does nothing for the enemy because we're tapping through it, but it does a whole bunch, not only for Blackbeard, but for his batch. Stuff like the rare recruits have additional effects if you have damage reduction or the enemy has damage reduction, and they also have carryover effects as well. So if the enemy has 6 turns of damage reduction, they can apply it as well. As you can see with Doc Q, he can apply the 6 turns as well. And then stuff like Van Ogre, he can do some really, really nice stuff with Tandem Orbs. And then with Blackbeard and Burgess, they can actually extend their buffs as well. So let's just quickly take out this stage. We're going to use the Super Tandem here. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. And then we're going to kill you. Nice. But Blackbeard's special, when you have this damage reduction, gets drastically improved. He will apply an increased damage taken at 2.25 that goes through immunity. And then characters like Burgess will also get a chain boost and an attack boost that cannot be blown away for 3 turns, literally just because the enemy has this damage reduction threshold. Now, a lot of people have been saying, like, oh, but what if the enemy has 5 turns, then you have 6 turns, and then you're kind of screwed? Well, you can then remove it with a lot of characters, like the Katarina Devon and the Vasco Shot, and then you can actually reapply it yourself. And this is only going to really affect you if it is something like damage reduction. If it's not damage reduction, it's really not going to bother you at all. So just be mindful of something like that as well. So using this superclass, as you can see here, the enemy doesn't have the buff. If they have full immunity, I don't think it affects anything. You can then use your Burgess special. This is going to give you like 3 turns of carryover buffs. As you guys can see here, we managed to get a full board of orbs. We can then use Blackbeard because we have the 5 strength orbs. We get the buffed ability, and then we can use stuff like Vasco's Shot as well. He's going to give us chain boundary and all this fun stuff too. I don't think Katarina Devon does anything but color affinity. Oh, she's going to lock slots. Let's do that. Let's lock our slots. Beautiful stuff. And then we can sort of just tap our way to the rafters. I don't know if we're going to kill on this stage, though, so that's a bit of a bummer, because I have a Tandem Orb on Blackbeard. You know what? we're going to do this as well, because this is going to give us base stats. And then we're just going to go from there. So as a captain, like, Blackbeard's exceptional. And when you can do stuff like this, and you get all of your strength orbs, and you have all of your specials lined up, and the enemy has damage reduction, you can just bring buffs from stage, the second last stage, into the final stage. Now, if Akainu wipes away buffs, which I don't think he actually, he does. He's going to wipe away buffs. He can't wipe away the attack boost. He can't wipe away the chain boost, the chain boundary, because, like, that's a buff that just doesn't get wiped away. And as you can see, you can just easily take out. But you're going to get this increased buffed special with Blackbeard if you have 5 Strength, Dex, Quick, Recovery, or Tandem Orbs. If you have Block Orbs, Psi, or Int Orbs, he's going to remove them, turn them into empty, and give you a 2.25 multiplier for empty orbs. Plus, then he gives you a 3 times orbs for 1 turn. Now, if you don't have any of that at all, don't stress. It might seem like a bad time, but you are still going to get an increased damage taken at 1.75 and a 2.75 times orb boost. So don't stress if you don't have any of this orb shenaniganry. They did cover him with an orb boost and an increased damage taken anyway. So in worst case scenario, you can still get something off like that. However, the character isn't perfect, and I have been talking about all the good things of the unit, but there are a few bad things as well that sort of don't hit the mark when it comes to this particular character. And the big one is cooldowns. Just like Gear 5, 6 star, when you take him into an area, you sort of have to stall your way through, so that way you can get all your cooldowns if the units aren't boosted. Now, in boosted content, stuff like Treasure Map, stuff like Blitz Battles, stuff like Kazunas, I feel like this Blackbeard is going to thrive exceptionally well. Like, having your cooldowns and then just having the ability to go through defensive effects is just so incredibly powerful. But when you take him into areas like arenas or some of the older content in the game, he's not going to show as much power and promise. But again, this is kind of like an end game legend rather than sort of a new player legend, being an anniversary exclusive anyway. So just be mindful that when you are pulling through the character, you do really want to have an established box as well to make the character shine the way that he does. Because remember, the characters have to be both driven or powerhouse, and then have those 4 classes to do some really interesting stuff with team building. It's not impossible, like you guys saw, you have a 5 times captain multiplier anyway, but in today's day and age, like 5 times multipliers, they kind of just don't cut it anymore. And it's not that they're bad, it's just that they're not that good. You can do some stuff with them and beat old content, but you really want to sort of fly through it as fast as possible. When characters like Gear 5 are floating around, when there's characters like Zoro Sanji floating around, 90% of the time, a lot of players are going to congregate towards those units. Not only are they incredibly powerful, but they are like the fun characters that you see in the anime, and you have all the heroes and all that fun stuff too. So I do understand where people are coming from with their gripes with the character. I actually am a big fan of the unit. I think he's a fantastic legend, and I do think he's going to see a lot of play in areas other areas of the game that aren't stuff like PvP. I just think areas like Treasure Map is going to be the biggest prowess for the unit, and areas like 10-star Kazuna are also going to be very, very strong for the character as well. But all in all, I'm a big fan of Blackbeard. I obviously love the Shanks Blackbeard rivalry, so that's a big plus for me. But having the ability to just bypass defensive effects, in my opinion, just makes the character like so ridiculously powerful. Now, this is a prime example of an area where they have damage reduction already, so using something like the superclass here, it's not really going to be that effective. But at the end of the day, it's really not that big of a problem, because we have a bunch of other effects that we can definitely use to our advantage. Unfortunately, we lost our bottom unit there. Our killer, he was going to be our color affinity unit, but I don't think it's going to matter here. Maybe it will. Yeah, no, Blackbeard's Super Tandem's too powerful. So that's going to wrap up the video. Let me know your thoughts and opinions of the unit in the comment section below. And if you enjoyed the video, make sure to belt the like button, hit the subscribe button, do all that good stuff. Most importantly, wherever you guys are in this beautiful world, please remember to enjoy the rest of your day. As always, homies, thank you all for watching, and I'll catch you all in the next one.